what are the 5 steps that are involved in drafting a claim statement or a statement of claim? A claim statement or a statement of claim is basically the complaint that a person files or a company files once the arbitrator is appointed. It is generally the first step that is undertaken in the arbitration process after the arbitration process has started. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what is the basic process in drafting a claim statement, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, and what are some of the things to watch out for. Hi everyone, my name is Ramana Reddy and I'm a practicing lawyer in the High Court of Telangana. On this channel, I help you by simplifying complex arbitration concepts. For tips, tricks, and more information about arbitration, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. So what is the problem that we are trying to tackle when we are drafting a statement of claim? So let's take an example just to simplify this. Let's say that a person has entered into a contract with a vendor for supply of chairs, for supply of tables, and for supply of bookshelves. So 3 things under the contract that are to be supplied. That contract contains an arbitration clause. Now, let's say that these items are to be supplied over a long period of time, and there have been several communications that have been exchanged, payments that have, gone out on different dates. So, he raises a bill for 10 rupees, he pays 8 rupees, 2 rupees are carried forward. It's basically a running account. So in this situation, it's obviously a simple example, but you can think about this, in a breach of contract case and so on. In such a situation, you will have multiple dates. It will be very challenging because there would have been, hundreds of emails that are exchanged between the parties. There have been different dates on which payments have gone out. Basically, you're trying to condense like years, worth of communications and understandings into just one document. And that is where it can get challenging, the condensation process. And that is what we're going to be discussing about today as to how to just control all the chaos and how to systematically organize everything so that you can draft your claim in a way that gives you the best chance to win the arbitration. So the first step, obviously, is that you need to gather all papers. That whatever papers that you feel relevant, you need to gather all these papers. And a second, or I guess the second part of the first step, which is very important, is that you need to prepare something called a list of dates. A list of dates is basically a chronological sequence as to what happened from day 1 to say day 100 or day 1000 or whatever. So what you would do is, so in our case, you would say, let's say for example that you enter into the contract on the 1st of January. So you would say, serial number 1, January 1st, contract entered. Then you would say January 5th, first payment made, January 10th, chairs delivered, January 15th, tables delivered, January 20th, bookshelves delivered, January 25th, payment made for tables, January 20th, payment made for chairs, January 30th, payment made for bookshelves, then more chairs supplied, and so on and so forth. So you will basically put all the facts in seriatim from day 1, so that what happens is, just with that single sheet, that will give you a bird's eye view into the whole dispute. It will tell you, without going into you're looking at hundreds of papers, it will tell you what happened on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and so on, so that you can condense a large amount of information into that table, which is popularly, among lawyers at least, called the list of dates. So that is the first step that you have to do before you file the claim statement. Don't just rush into it. This is a common mistake. Don't rush and don't start typing up the claim statement, as soon as you have to start drafting. Unless you prepare, unless you set the stage, you will not be able to prepare an effective claim statement. And the first step to preparing an effective claim statement is to prepare the list of dates. The second step would be to arrange the documents in accordance with the list of dates. So, whatever sequence you have the emails in, whatever sequence, you have contracts, you may have minutes of meetings that have happened between the parties. So organize all the documents also date-wise, so that as you flip through the documents, you will again get a story. You will get a timeline from day 1 to day 100, so that you can organize the facts in your mind. And also when you sit down to type up the claim statement, you will be able to put the facts in an organized manner, as opposed to talking about one date in from say January 30th, then talking about something that happened on January 1st, then talking about something or happened in January 15th. It's totally unorganized. It's difficult for the arbitrator to understand what is happening. And the best way to actually win a case is to make it as simple as possible for the judge or the arbitrator who's deciding your case. Now, once you've condensed all this information, that you would create a table with the list of claims. So to go with our example, you would have 3 claims. You would have 1 claim for the chairs, 1 claim for the tables, and 1 claim for the bookshelves. So you would, make a table and you would say chairs would be, say, 10 lakhs, tables 10 lakhs, bookshelves 10 lakhs, and you would say total 30 lakhs. And then now you would break up the claim statement, according to each of these claims. So you would talk about, say, chairs first, and you would, put a heading chairs, and you would say that, so the contract was entered into on so-and-so date. The first payment for chairs was made on so-and-so date. We received the, X amount of chairs on so-and-so date. We were supposed to receive more chairs, but, these emails were exchanged between the parties, and so on and so forth. So basically, you would break up the claim statement into 3 parts, because ultimately your claim consists of claims of 3 items. So in such a situation, if you just club everything, if you just say, in one paragraph you're talking about chairs, another paragraph you're talking about tables, in the same paragraph again you're talking about bookshelves, it becomes something like it becomes a khichdi, without clarity. So it's always better that you organize the claim statement and you break the claim statement up into different parts. So if you have 3 claims, make sure you break the claim statement up into 3 parts, and you give facts and you make out a case for these 3 items separately in the claim statement. So that way, it becomes easier for you to convince the arbitrator, and there will be clarity in the claim statement as to what you are seeking. Now, when you are writing these things in separate headings, in these 3 headings, you need to compare and contrast with the contract. So you need to say, the contract said X, but Y happened. The contract said A, but B happened. Therefore, I have done my part, but the seller who's supposed, who's supplying these chairs to me, he has not done his part. So you need to always keep in mind that you're looking for that gap between the contract and performance of the other side. And, so that is the case that you need to make out. So for chairs separately, for tables separately, and for books separately. Now, ultimately, once this is done, you need to put the prayer or the relief that you are seeking. Ultimately, now, what do you want? Do you want to compel the seller to sell those chairs to you, or you don't want the chairs anymore and you're just looking for damages? So that will be the prayer. And in the prayer, also, it's advisable, because arbitrations are generally expensive, that you also ask for the costs of the arbitration so that they will be reimbursed to you. So to summarize, those are the 5 steps. The first step would be to prepare the list of dates. The second step would be to organize the documents. The third step would be to give a table of the tables, a table of, tables, chairs, and bookshelves along with the values. The fourth step would be to use the list of dates that you've already prepared to draft the, pleadings for each separate issue, which in our case are 3 issues. And the final thing is that you would write the prayer or the relief that you are seeking in the ultimate case. I hope that video was helpful. Thank you for watching.